It's that time of year where we take magic, family, Christmas, and murder. And that is why we're going to discuss the remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yeah, I had the pleasure of seeing this movie in the theater. Of course, this movie is a remake of the 1984 classic by the same name, even though we actually had a remake simply Silent Night. But that remake had very little to nothing to do with the original, like in similarities or anything like that. This movie actually takes things closer to the 1984 version, but in my opinion, I think has improved it. Do you hear that? A lot of sirens going on, which in New York probably means someone jumped a turnstile at the subway station. This movie is directed by Mike P. Nelson, not to be confused by Mike Nelson from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Now, this Mike Nelson is known for directing the recent Wrong Turn and VHS 85, or V/H/S/85. But I will say, this movie is closer to the 1984 version that we got, and in my opinion, I think improves it. Now, I actually like the 1984 version just because, well, you know, it's original and it's that 80s silliness. But this movie, it really kind of honed in on how silly it was. It knows what it has, and it plays with it. The star of the film is Rohan Campbell. He's becoming a favorite of mine. At the beginning of the year, he was in the movie The Monkey. I should have done a review of that one on this show, but crazy year. But before that, we know Rohan Campbell, don't we? Yes, we do. Because he was Corey from Halloween Ends. I reviewed that movie, and I wish his character did survive in that one. I feel like the franchise could have used him for something, you know. Yeah, so this movie is one of those tongue-in-cheek horror comedies. Like, it's a horror movie, yes. There's violent death, but it really leans into the comedic side of it. This movie has the mostly same origin story as the previous version, but there are twists in it that I won't give away here. Not yet. I'll save that for the spoiler part. Now, this movie is about a guy who dresses up as Santa Claus and murders. Whereas in the original, his killing just happens because something in him snapped and he kind of went crazy after being traumatized as a boy, seeing his parents get killed. Instead of becoming Batman, he became Santa Claus, the murderer. But in this version, he doesn't quite murder people blindly. There are motives as to why he murders. So yeah, it's a fun movie. There is a scene where you might have heard of it by now, so I'm just gonna say it here. He murders Nazis. And I mean, come on, if you're gonna have your murderer kill Nazis, then that amplifies the film a bit more, don't you think? So really, this movie is kind of like Silent Night, Deadly Night combined with Dexter. The cast is gritty. They're not as clean-cut as the characters in the 1984 version. They have a dark side to them, and we learn that each of them have kind of a bit of a past, and this film is a very hyper film. It will catch your attention. Original movie was kind of, quiet at parts, but this one just kind of gets right into it. There are missing elements in this film from the original version, the original 1984 version, and it is missed. But if there's a sequel, I am curious to see what they're going to do with that. I know it kind of has low ratings, but I like a tongue-in-cheek murder movie, so I'm gonna give it praise. Yeah, instead of the main character, Billy, working in a toy store, he's more of a drifter who has a mission. He eventually does get settled in to work at a local Christmas shop. It's not a toy store, it's a Christmas shop. And there is a love interest in the film, and she's just as twisted, but I really do like the townspeople in this film. I would love to gush on this even further. This movie is a bloody film, but bloody in a sense that it's actually unrealistic, but it's kind of fun to watch. It's one of those films where you're almost rooting for the murderer. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to give too much more away, so this is about where I'm gonna say, you kids who have not seen the movie, go ahead and skedaddle. Unless, of course, you do want to be spoiled, then stick around. If you haven't seen the movie, then skedaddle and come back right about Hello, welcome. How are you doing? Are you having a good holiday season? Are you having a good Christmas? Good Hanukkah? Hopefully a good Kwanzaa coming soon? Boxing Day? I hope all of the holidays are doing very well. So, let's talk about this movie, where it's different from the 1984 version. You see, in the 1984 version, young Billy witnesses his parents being murdered after they visit Grandpa from an asylum. That's the 1984 version. That murderer never gets caught. But in this film, the murderer actually plays a bigger part. We don't see it all unraveling in a linear storytelling. It's all from the kind of like a Nolan-esque jump around time storytelling. And I like that. I actually do like that change. I also like that, okay, this is going to be where we see Billy grown up now, just kind of a drifter going around each day having to kill someone. And he marks it in his calendar that he murdered someone. And we don't know why he's doing it. He's just doing it, and we think it's random, but I love that. It turns out that each of them deserve to die. And he has a voice in his head that directs him to where to go next. Like, it speaks to him, but I like the dynamic between the voice and Billy. As it is explained, is the vessel. Billy can look around and use his eyes. The voice can only see what Billy sees, but the voice knows enough to know if that person is naughty. I like that it leads Billy to kill what we think is a nice old man, but we learn that he actually murdered his wife. And the guy that Billy kills at a motel in the beginning actually has a criminal past. And the drunken mess floozy that hits on Billy at her kid's hockey game turns out that she's a friggin' Nazi running a Nazi party, a Nazi Christmas party to be precise. And that is the best scene, is when we see Billy slaughtering a bunch of Nazis. It has the title cards popping up. It's a fun scene. It's a fun movie. I also like that the love interest, Pamela Sims, she was in the original movie, but she wasn't really that big of a character, other than just being one of the employees at the toy store. But here, they really give her like more of a dark side, and she used to date this abusive officer that would stalk her. I like that Billy is ultimately there to track down this murderous psychopath that kidnaps children. I mean, Pamela's a cool character too, because the way she defends her nephew from being bullied while no one else is doing anything on the hockey rink. Way to go. The couple things that kind of bugged me about the movie, I would say, is that one, in this version, we don't have Mother Superior, who is a prominent figure in the original movie. There are no bitchy nuns. That's because instead of doing an orphanage, Billy is sent to a foster home, and we see Billy killing his foster mom the same way that he kills one of his victims using antlers on a deer trophy. It seems like Ricky does not exist. Ricky, of course, being the boy who would become the next murdering Santa in the original sequel. Yeah, I'm gonna play the clip.
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
Yeah, that's supposed to be Billy's little brother. The only other thing that I thought was kind of weird is this movie mixes horror along with magic, like supernatural elements. Like, we see that the original Santa Claus murderer, the one that killed Billy's parents, transferred his soul into Billy, and that's why Billy can hear the voice in his head. It's a whole magic thing that's not really explained.
Forget who you are and what you do.
But I did like the twist that showed the original killer killed Billy's parents because they killed the grandfather. And sadly, it happened again. It happens again, where it's another movie where Rohan Campbell dies. He dies in this movie. I mean, yeah, he does kind of get the girl. I mean, you know, they get together and he transfers his spirit into her. Now she's hearing his voice in her head. He's now guiding the next murderer. I kind of do hope that they make a sequel with this movie, just because how bizarre it is. All right, let's get back to our non-spoiler friends. See you soon. Well, Welcome back, you unspoiled kids. So we were just talking about the spoilers and everything. This movie is non-linear. It does seem like a short movie. I had a good time watching it, and I do recommend you go see it too, but the way movie theaters work nowadays, it's probably out and already going to be on streaming by the time I upload this. So watch it when you can. And don't worry about anything. You're not going to get any parent groups or angry mothers or Mickey Roonies complaining about this movie. Let's see. This movie got low score on certain things. I think last time I checked, IMDb had it at like 6.5. I am going to grade this movie as my own biased personal grading. I am going to say an 8. 8 out of 10. Closer to a 7 than a 9, but 8 out of 10. If you like movies where you're rooting for the murderer and you actually like the characters, this is going to be a fun sit for you. If you really ended up loving the 1984 version, you might be turned off by it, but as someone that actually likes the 1984 version, I like this one just a smidge more. Maybe don't look at it too much like a remake, but rather just another anthology, because that's where the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies end up going when they had the original sequels. They started to become their own stories. So look at this movie like that. And may your holidays be filled with love and joy and not so much of the murder.